Hello from Jimmy's Old Time Radio Show. On my Facebook, I follow a great number of activity organizations. One called the National Association of Activity Professionals had an interesting post last night asking if there are any entertainers that would be willing to entertain for free, highlighting the fact that seniors really need entertainment right now, which is something I've been talking about for months. So speaking as a musician and as one that works in the industry, there's some interesting ethical questions around this. Musicians are being asked to perform for free, to perform for exposure. That, of course, creates all kinds of responses. When I first read the post, there were no comments yet. I replied to the post, though, and I offered to talk to them about the services. We're going to be speaking on the phone next week. I certainly want to help any way I can. There's so many facilities that need entertainment. But then from the musician standpoint, after a little while, the comments started to come in, showing empathy for the musicians as well. So I thought this is a good subject, something worth examining. Now let's be clear, the NAAP was asking for entertainers that were willing to help. Not demanding that you work for free, but asking for those that have the time, are willing to do it. So a professional entertainer, one that was full-time like myself, I'll admit my first inclination was to balk at the idea. I had to stop and think about it for a moment and remind myself that this is actually why I'm here, is to connect as much as possible, to get as much music to as many seniors as possible. That's the mandate of Jimmy's Old Time Radio Show. But some musicians could be insulted. I've seen many posts over the years about musicians that are upset about being asked to work for free, saying, would you ask your plumber to come in and fix your pipes for exposure? Musicians tend to always get sort of suppressed as far as professional equity is concerned. But in credit to musicians, they have an innate cultural sense of charity. They're known for benefit concerts and being at fundraisers. I've personally been involved in fundraisers from earthquake relief for Japan to the Neil Young Museum, not to mention open mics where musicians just go and show their stuff. It's tough to make a living as a musician. There's a lot of competition and you have to kind of find your niche, which I was fortunate to. On my way here though, I once played for $20 and a box of tea. Most long-term care homes and retirement homes, they hire you, you show up, you play the gig, you get paid. But there's been 3 or 4 occasions where I've been asked to do auditions. So years ago when I was starting out, yeah, certainly I did some auditions, as long as the promise for subsequent shows was given, should I succeed. Happily, it's always worked out. I've been building up my business and I've made a reasonable living for a decade now. Now though, after so many years of entertaining, if somebody asks me to audition for a retirement home, I'll say no, because I have a list of 2,000 care home concerts and a whole bunch of comments on my channel that show the responses of the residences and the other managers. I just can't work for free. It's not fair to ask somebody to work for free unless they're willing to volunteer. And that's the crux of the NAAP's shout out. They're looking for volunteers. You don't have to accept, but it might open the door. And that was sort of my angle. Hoping to open the door, hoping to play some shows for these people. I'd like to live stream, personally reach out to some of my American friends. Budgets are always tight in retirement homes, long-term care homes. Those funds are always in competition for other things, other capital needs, especially during the COVID crisis. Knowing how tight finances can be as a former manager and somebody that's been around the industry forever, I do try to give tools for activity managers to fundraise. Fundraising should always be a keystone to a recreation program, because fundraising includes community outreach. So I have CDs for sale, Jimmy's Old Time Radio Show Volume 1. They are available as a fundraising tool. So I want to look at some of the comments that were given to the posting from the NAAP. Starting with someone in Ohio. She writes, lots of performers are struggling financially after being unable to work. It's not fair to ask them to perform for free. It takes years of practice and financial support to be able to perform, and they deserve to be compensated fairly. I write this as an activity professional, but also as a musician. Exposure doesn't pay the bills. So all the things I talked about are mirrored there. Case in point, from Oregon, United States. I am an activity director and an entertainer. My entire repertoire is music for seniors. I'm interested. Way to go. I'm interested too. I think it is an opportunity for a lot of people, but we have to strive toward fairness. From someone I believe down in California, it reads, these are venues that would normally pay for live entertainment, and it's true. They do have budgets. As performers switch to online and virtual shows to survive, why would you ask them to work for free. Their work, their talent, and their time still have value, just as your activity professionals do. And that's a little bit of a firmer stance on the subject, and I can't disagree with any of that. I'm rebranding my business. It was completely hobbled. 94% of my work has been gone since March. So as I rebrand and switch to virtual, I need to make a living. So I thank my Californian friend for pointing all that out. Over to Pennsylvania now. As an entertainer with no work since March 12th, I truly miss seeing and interacting with my residents. And I also know how hard this year has been on all the vendors financially. The care home venues are what she is referring to. Budgets have been slashed. I agree with the comments below, but also appreciate to offer to interact with residents. How about a compromise? Perhaps every entertainer who agrees can do 1 or 2 per month shows, and that performance can be saved and shared to the other communities. That would limit the entertainer's donation, since it is work without pay. Give residents something new in what looks like a long, isolated COVID winter to come. Praying it will not, but facing reality. And showcase entertainment around the country. Sign me up, coach. Then another one, location unknown, reads, I am torn. As a professional, I shudder when I ask another professional to forego their salary to benefit many non-for-profit businesses. My work is of value too. Would you expect me to do this for free? I suppose that's the crux of the question right there. Should this be expected for free? One more comment, again from Pennsylvania. As an entertainer and a certified activity professional working in a nursing home for 13 years, I see both sides. Yes, entertainers need to be paid for their work, and this year has been a real hardship. Yes, residents are bored. This is not a criticism for everyone doing carts and dinosaur dances and car parades, etc. But even root beer floats and hallway bingo loses their appeal after 6 months of indoors. So showcasing new entertainers from around the country would break the cycle. I would hope if each entertainer did 1 or 2 free samples, and residents love it. The communities would pay for their next programs going forward so that entertainers can pay their rent. All these comments are spot on, intelligently written, thoughtful people, and I really appreciate the tone around this. Collaborative, understanding, yet seeking fairness. So here's what I wrote. As a full-time entertainer, or rather was, 94% lost since March. With a gerontology background specializing in concerts for seniors, the backlash to the idea of free music for exposure is not unexpected, especially now. Any professional expects to be paid unless volunteering for a good cause, which this is. Recreation budgets are widely affected by costs to the facilities borne by the pandemic. My current catalog of videos is always available for use. Any support appreciated. Plus, I am open to negotiating personalized concerts. Like most people, I have family to care for. The need to fund recreation has never been greater. Working through this difficult time together, in solidarity with fellow entertainers, and empathy to the seniors, with long days to fill. Be well, friends. As I said, I will be speaking to the NAAP on Monday, and I hope to have my material used by as many facilities as possible. That's why I do this. But I just want to make a living at it too. If it's only fair, of course. So I thought I'd pause and see what are the negatives to their proposal. What are the positives? Just a few negatives, really. Obviously, some entertainers are potentially insulted, and entertainers' needs are not being financially supported. So perhaps the bar is being lowered. I think these things can be resolved. My list of positives is a little longer. Firstly, people are talking about this. There is discourse on Facebook about the need for virtual entertainment. I've been banging this drum for 6 months now. I'm happy to see discourse on the subject. And I think change is being accepted. Almost 7 months into the pandemic, the need for virtual entertainment is becoming clearer and clearer. My outside summer shows are done here in Canada now that it's October. Budgets are being reviewed. A lot of money was allocated to fighting COVID. PPEs, setting up safe family visits, covering sick time. Huge costs to all these companies that care for our seniors. Please believe me when I say the managers know the need for the recreation. Administration knows the need for recreation. But budgets are real. I feel confident there will be an increased stream of funding toward virtual entertainment and hopefully soon live entertainment. I personally know of a number of facilities that are installing the systems to stream virtual music. So people are talking about it. Another positive is that seniors are going to get entertained by those that are willing to do it. For those of us that are trying to reach out virtually, the seniors will get entertained. That is a big positive. And in the big picture, all these things are steps toward a better future in seniors' care. So between the negatives and the positives, there is this middle ground, which I and I think all the other commenters try to thread, that there needs to be a give and take. We'll work together. We'll start a little low. We'll work our way up. We are all retooling right now. We need to find fairness. We need to find understanding. Entertainers are asking you to remember us. My channel has taken a marked jump since COVID-19. As I near my 10,000th video view, I am just a person trying to make a living from this. I want to thank those people that have supported my work, and I'm going to continue to try to put more content out there with plans for live streaming and ever more pre-recorded videos, but just asking that you support my work and the work of the other entertainers. There's some really clever people out there. I'd rather work for you than take government subsidies. I don't want to receive help for gig workers. I want to be a gig worker. So thanks NAAP for bringing all this up. What you're trying to do is admirable, and we're going to find a path forward. I know we are. Take care, everybody.